Now we do it for real.
Radio show. Take the points. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAC Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. The guys have you covered for all the games. Now, take the points.
And you are
910 and the iHeart
live.
Radio app.
Welcome in. Mike Gross, Jackson Groff coming to you today from the CAZ Sportsbook at Casino, Arizona, Loop 101 and McKellips. Mike Bauer on assignment today. He'll be back next week. But Jackson, it's so cool to come back every Saturday morning, get here to the Sportsbook. The TV's fired up. I had my breakfast burrito. You didn't. And get to talk sports for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. We
So
got
much.
college football to talk about. We got NFL, and that little Diamondbacks game. Game 2 tonight. We're going to recap game 1. Our biggest
Do we have
takeaways
to?
from. I mean, we can. We don't have to. I feel like it's positive. It's a Saturday. Maybe those listening on the radio or in their car or watching on live stream on YouTube or Twitter may not want to hear about the Diamondbacks game. But hey, there's another day, another light at the end of the tunnel, and the D-backs can go into Texas 1-1. That's not a bad scenario for this Diamondbacks team.
That's not a bad scenario, but it's going to take me a minute to get over last night. That was a rough finish. I mean, you lose a game, you got to win 4. So, you lose a game on the opponent's field, no big deal. But you had that game won. Had that game won in the 9th. A home run to tie it 5-5, and then you lose in walk-off fashion. That's kind of like a double gut punch. At the end of that game last night. So I get it. I'll get over it. We'll talk about it, but it still stings a little bit.
Sewald was very uncharacteristic to give up that home run there. I think that was his first home run, let alone run that he's led up this whole postseason. I mean, besides that, I thought Marte looked good last night. I thought Carroll, again, that dude is one of the speediest guys in all of baseball. When you talk about before the season, Kyler Murray and him in a foot race, it might be closer than I thought, but Kyler Murray I think he gets the advantage there with his new ACL. But, man, I mean, big game here for the D-backs. And can Christian Walker get a hit? Can we get a hit, or is he just going to stay in the lineup and absorb a spot in the lineup?
And going back to what you said a minute ago, it was all good. I mean, early in that game, like every time Texas did something, they responded. They had the lead late. Just a tough way to finish it. And I hope. You got to have a short memory, especially if you're in a bullpen in Major League Baseball. You got to have a short memory, and I just, that. And we said the same thing though after Game 2 in Philadelphia, where they got shellacked 10-0. But I think this is a different kind of loss. This is a loss where, you thought you had this game won. That Game 2 in Philly, it was terrible, but you were never in it. So shake it off, go home. This one, like I said, just a little bit tough. So we'll get more into the Diamondbacks and the Rangers coming up later on in the show. Regular listeners know at 11:30 every Saturday, Marco D'Angelo from WagerTalk.com is by for his weekly visit. He'll pick a couple of games for us, and also probably this week we'll talk about the World Series with him. What's it look like from Las Vegas? What's the money telling everybody up there? Marco D'Angelo from WagerTalk.com at 11:30. And then at 12:15, Hode Rabito. We're going to talk to him about the ASU Sun Devils coming off the bye. They've got a home game. Talk about a bad loss a couple weeks ago. Not that you thought you were going to beat Washington, but when you got to play the Huskies and the officials.
Oh, yeah, well, that was last week. So they had the bye week, and then they had Washington.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me. The loss to the Huskies.
Arizona Wildcats were on a bye.
That's correct. I get my buys.
Hey, it's okay. We're just getting started, Gross.
But the way they lost that game, that one, you got to shake that off. But that's hard, especially when you haven't had a lot of success in terms of wins and losses, which the Sun Devils team still finding their way under new head coach Kenny Dillingham. A lot to like what you see, youngsters getting into it, and coaching staff, kind of putting their stamp on a team that was decimated by just horrific recruiting the last couple of years. So we knew it was going to take a minute, but when you get that close, when you get a chance in a game like that, you'd like to be able to push it over the finish. And when you get, I don't usually talk about officials, because in any given game they're going to make mistakes, but that one hurt.
Yeah, we talked to Charlie Reigel on Thursday, and we spoke about, the Pac-12 refs and when are they going to have full-time positions, because most of these refs are working part-time jobs over there for the Pac-12. And might not even have jobs anymore because the Pac-12 is going away. But not the point there. He said, hey, I can't really talk about the rules right now, the referees. But after the season, grab a nice cold beer. Would love to talk about the refs. But no, to that point, I think there's also a learning curve with Kenny Dillingham. When you're in a situation there early and you've got a chance to get points on the board, you got to get the field goal. And then I understand you're going for it there on 4th and 3. At the same time, I don't like how you throw a pass to the field side, motion all the way out to the numbers, and you throw a 35, 40-yard pass horizontally, expecting your receiver to get there in a one-on-one situation. The ball was in the air for so long that DB broke on the route, looked at the ball, and took it to the crib. So I think it's a learning curve for Kenny Dillingham in a spot where you're up. I think they were up 3. And they could have had a situation that would have been up 6, which Washington's offense surprisingly didn't score the entire game. Yeah. So you put them on your heels. A lot of pressure for Washington to capitalize in a must-score situation with 8 minutes left. Didn't like the play call there, but again, another learning curve for Kenny Dillingham, and he'll get better. But you wanted to see that win for Dillingham just in his first year. That would have been the biggest upset of the season.
No, absolutely, and you need something to build on, right? You need something to build on if you're the Sun Devils. Point taken on Coach Dillingham. Players as well in that locker room afterwards. That had to sting. Looking at the Pac-12, got a big game coming up in about an hour and a half. That was where game day was today in Salt Lake City, Oregon at Utah. And then a little bit later on the Pac-12 network, USC and California. USC. Man.
We got the whole segment to talk about USC.
Goodness gracious. Talk about coaches figuring it out. Lincoln Riley not showing up for the coaches show.
No players after the game for media. Which I understand sometimes when you're a former player, you don't want to speak to the media after a tough loss like that. But if you're also winning on the other side and you do, I feel like you just I don't know. It's like Colorado when they lost to Stanford, they still had their players out there talking to the media after when it was a tough loss. But you got to be able to square up when either win or loss and explain what happened and be the same. Have the same routine, win or loss.
Well, and they're already talking about, with kind of the way they've had this precipitous drop-off, is this the sign that Lincoln Riley's getting ready to jump? And that's what Oklahoma fans were saying all along, that, he wasn't going to USC for the long term. He was going to find his way into the National Football League. I don't know. But geez, and I was on record. I said, look, this is beginning of the season. Their defense is the reason they might not win either a Pac-12 championship and or get into the college football playoffs. The whole thing's falling apart. It's not, you can't point to one thing right now with USC and say, this is the problem.
Offensive line's definitely been struggling recently. Caleb Williams has been sacked probably more times the past 2 weeks than Shedeur Sanders even has in Colorado, which is crazy to even think.
When you think about USC, the hallmark, even during the lean years in terms of wins and losses, always those monstrous, physical, just dominant offensive line. Whatever else was going on in Los Angeles, you could always count on the USC offensive line, not 100%. So much this year.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because their past 2 games, you think their defense has been doing better, the USC's defense, but the terrible field position they start out with due to their offense not being able to push the ball down the field has definitely made this USC defense look worse. You had a pig farmer last week, third-string quarterback, go into USC and beat them. You just wonder what USC can do. You look at their schedule, 2 losses already.
Yep.
Still got Washington, still got Oregon, and they got UCLA. So I don't know where this is going to be, but if this team is 4 losses, you got to figure out what the future is. But I saw someone talk about it the other day, Gross, and about what USC can do to turn it around. They said a good idea would be hiring an assistant or someone involved in a Georgia and an Alabama and an SEC program to come over in the recruiting department and maybe even help them out in that standpoint and see what's Georgia doing. Because Florida State did that last year too. They hired someone within the SEC, and now you look at them as one of the top teams in the country and what they did in the transfer portal. So a lot of question marks there for USC, but not looking good for all those USC.
Real quickly, looking at the rest of the Pac-12 schedule today: Washington at Stanford, Colorado. We talked about they're in California to play UCLA at the Rose Bowl. Probably be the largest attendance figure for UCLA this year. I haven't seen a number yet. We'll take a look, but when Colorado shows up, they definitely are the draw. Washington State here in Tempe, 5 o'clock kickoff on the Pac-12 network. As we said, we'll talk to Hode Rubino at 12:15, get a preview of that game, plus check in on the Devils and see how they're doing. And then finally, the nightcap in the Pac-12 on ESPN, number 11, Oregon State in Tucson to play the Wildcats. The Wildcats receiving votes in some top 25 polls after their win prior to their bye, Jackson, at Washington State. So maybe this is it. Maybe the Teddy Bruschi effect is settling in. Like, finish these games and show us. Stop telling us what you're doing. Stop talking about great recruits. Show us on the field, finish games. They did that. Well, they never even finished. They started it strong and never looked back against Washington State.
I'm so excited to watch that game tonight, man. I mean, it's going to be a great atmosphere. Noah Fifita, sold-out crowd there in Tucson. They better be loud and rowdy there in Tucson if they want a big win. And also, we got to mention, too, probably the best nickname for a rivalry in all college football, the world's largest outdoor cocktail parties kicking off at 12:30 between Georgia and Florida. In Georgia, without Brock Bowers. Interesting there.
And that game played in Jacksonville. Those are the really cool rivalries, right, when you have a neutral field. I know it's in Florida, but if you do the math, it's equidistance between the two schools, similar to what we saw with Texas and Oklahoma. So I love those types of rivalries when you can do that. All right, it's time for our soccer pick of the week. And good to have him here for the foreseeable future as our technical director. We'll send it back to Ryan Sirk for this week's pick.
How you doing, guys?
Good to hear from you, Ryan.
So I didn't hit my pick last week. I know I said San Jose was going to win. They ended up drawing. So I will have to take responsibility for that pick. But moving forward, we want to bounce back. And there is a big game going on tomorrow morning, our time. It's Manchester City versus Manchester United. I'm going to stay away from that game, actually. Too many things can happen in a rivalry. Don't really like it. So I'm going with West Ham to beat Everton at plus 110. They're playing well this season. They're at home, and Everton are struggling. It's a good mixture.
West Ham plus 110 is the pick from Ryan. You could have given me a heads up. I could have gone back to the EPL pick of the week. But the pick of the week, West Ham plus 110, lock it in. And thank you, Ryan, for on this show, because my picks are great. How are your picks, Jackson?
They're
great. My picks are great.
Yeah, our locks are very good, actually.
Every week.
Oh, yeah, gross. You and I had the same lock at the end of last week. I don't want to talk about that at all.
I just said you can have personal responsibility.
Same old Lions.
Every week we get our pick of the week from Ryan. Appreciate you, Ryan. All right, we'll step aside here on the other side. We'll take a quick look at the top 25 scoreboard, plus other college football teams starting to get bowl eligible, Jackson.
Ooh.
Bowl season not that far away. We'll talk about it next on Fox Sports 910.
All clear.
The Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Get ready for double the fun on the 101. Introducing the Salt River Rewards Program at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort, the Valley's newest and best. With multiple tiers and endless benefits, we've got something for everyone. Don't miss out on the excitement. Salt River Rewards, the Valley's premier player rewards program, now at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. 2 properties, 1 amazing club, offering limitless fun on the 101. Discover the best in the Valley at saltriverrewards.com.
Time for a new smart TV? Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B are giving away 5 65-inch smart TVs. Text PEAKS to 59925. That's PEAKS to 59925. Standard message and data rate apply. Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree blue moon and Coors Light man-sized drafts.
Rock for WrightToyota.com. At Wright Toyota, they'd like you to get to know them. Their goal is to make buying your next vehicle the kind of experience that earns your recommendation to family and friends. They invite you to use all of their innovative web tools on WrightToyota.com. So if you're looking for a new or pre-owned Toyota, head to their interactive website at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection, all at WrightToyota.com.
It's Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing and your sexy status roof guy on Instagram and Facebook. Lesser roofers cut corners, cobbling together patchwork roofs to meet a budget, not State 48 Roofing. Give us a call today for your maintenance, repair, or full replacement needs.
Sun Devil football returns to Mountain America Stadium to take on the Washington State Cougars Saturday, October 28th. For ASU's homecoming. Gadaboo with the catch, has the first down, stays on his feet, and he's going to go. Get your ASU Washington State tickets today by calling 480-727-0000. Touchdown, Devils! Devils. Or go online to sundeviltickets.com. The legend of Cameron Scattaboo continues to grow.
How's the golf game? Need help with that putter? Win free golf membership or putter fitting from Putting World in Scottsdale. Just text PUTT to 59925. That's PUTT to 59925. Standard message and data rates apply. That's PUTT to 59925.
Hey, this is Kelly Cooper. Are you ready for the ultimate sports?
You want any specific song?
Further than BKD's Backyard Joint. At BKD's, we're not just a sports bar. We're the destination for the best food, drinks, and sports experience in the valley. Located at the corner of Pecos and McQueen and Chandler.
There's so much Drake on here, actually.
Fun and flavor. Only at BKD's Backyard Joint, where every day is game day. Check us out online.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I first heard it, I was like, okay. And then now I'm like, okay, this is better.
Tune in Mondays from 1 to 4 as Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B broadcasts live from the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. The Sportsbook at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona is sports fans' paradise.
I like more rap Drake.
Monday from CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona.
Hey, if you're thinking about getting the latest iPhone, check this out.
Oh, really?
You get the latest iPhone every year and unlimited wireless for just $60 a month. Yeah, you get the new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium. Then again, next year you get the latest iPhone. Every year. Boost Infinite.
That's pretty funny.
To learn more, pick up your phone, dial pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. That's pound 250 and say Boost Infinite. Terms apply. After 30 gigabytes, service may be slowed. Receive a comparable iPhone model each year with an acceptable trade-in every year. Requires credit qualification and 36-month phone financing agreement. You'll have the option.
We're going to have Casey today. I got his open.
From iHeartMedia.
Also, Jackson, I think you should turn yourself up a little bit.
November at Lowe's. Right now, save $80.
Forgot to mention it.
20-volt two-tool combo kit.
If anything, you should lower it down, but you're good.
Redeem those points for offers like NFL tickets to regular season games, a Super Bowl 58 experience for two, and more rewards. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. While supplies last, selection varies by location. Bonus points calculated.
Here we go.
Tax and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 11/22. Subject to change.
Yeah. Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
And you're live.
Nice crowd here at the CAZ Sportsbook, Casino, Arizona. Watching college football, having breakfast. Come on out and see us. We're taking up to 1 o'clock. They're here all weekend long for your football viewing pleasure. I talked to Jack over there at the Sportsbook. He's the manager. Keeps everybody in line, keeps everybody happy, runs a great ship here. And we'll catch up with Casey from the Sportsbook in our final segment when we do our picks. But, Jackson, let's take a quick look at the college football scoreboard as most of these early games are right around halftime, either going to half or coming out of the halftime break. What do you got?
Yeah, so let's start with Florida State at Wake Forest. They're up 34-10, Gross. And we just played a little Drake there, and all the Florida State Seminoles are loving Kiki being Keon Coleman. 5 catches, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first half. They're in the third quarter right now. Florida State rolling. And what was the spread on that game, Gross? Florida State.
We had the spread at Florida State minus 20.5 with the total at 51.
They're covering
and a half here at Casino, Arizona.
All right, a little bit of an upset alert question mark. 6 Oklahoma at Kansas. They're down 14-0 in the first quarter. They've scored 21 straight points. They're up 24-14 at Kansas. Kansas has the ball at midfield, looking to get some extra points before half. What was the spread on that one?
Oklahoma 21-14 over Kansas. The spread was minus 8.5 to start for Oklahoma. With the point total, Jackson, at 66.5.
Things are rolling for Oklahoma. A little pick six there early from Dylan Gabriel, but what can this Kansas team do to respond? We shall see. Third quarter, 8 minutes left. The last top 25 game, 10 Penn State at home against Indiana. Up 10 against Indiana. A little closer than what people expected. What was the spread on that one?
Looking for the spread on that one, and I don't see it. We'll come back to that one. But, you know, you and I talked about this when we were getting ready for the show. A little bit of a hangover for the Nittany Lions after the way they lost and the questions that got asked after that game a week ago.
Their defense looked so good against Ohio State, too. It's just the biggest thing. They couldn't really get the offense flowing. The running game was which is their bread and butter. They couldn't get it going, which, you know, gave Drew Aller a tough situation. He was very uncomfortable against that Ohio State front.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and it's the never-ending story for Penn State. Like, you look at the East, right, in the Big Ten, and it's Michigan and Ohio State, question mark Penn State. When are you going to break through?
I'm putting you on the spot here, Gross, but we always talk about the Big Ten, and we talk about Northwestern and the stuff going on this season with them. They've got 3 wins this season, 3-4, and they are currently beating 5-2 Maryland, 27-20 in the third quarter. That's a major upset. You would think Maryland is favored by a lot there, Gross.
Maryland was 14.5 over Northwestern into that one, total of 48.5. And you know this. You played the game, Jackson. When, something happens to the team, to the collective, to the group, it can go one of two ways. And we didn't know at the start of the season what would happen to Northwestern football, the way that their coach. And let's be honest, whatever that story turns out to be, he was a beloved coach. He played college football at the university where he was coaching. Probably have some stuff for him. And then to have him blown out the way he was, that was going to do one of two things. Most people thought it would decimate the team and really derail their season. It seems to have had the opposite effect. Where, look, and again, as you just said, they're 3-4. So I'm not sitting here saying, hey, look out for them in the college football playoffs. That's not what I'm saying. The win total on this team was what, 1.5 or 2, something like that.
1.5.
So it's just really interesting, the psychology of things like this and how they happen. When you think you know what's going to happen, you're not always right, particularly with situations like this. But Pat Fitzgerald dumped, and this to me is his players rallying for their guy, is what I see.
Yeah, you love to see it. They can get this win. That'd be their 4th win of the season. You just got to win 2 of your last 4 games. You got Iowa at Wisconsin. You got home against Purdue at Illinois. So, Purdue, Illinois are kind of winnable games, but home against Iowa, you don't know what to expect with that defense.
Yeah, you do. You get 15 points, you beat Iowa. I don't care. Every chance you give me, I'm going to say that.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you. I'm just saying Northwestern, they scored 27 points so far. You definitely think they've got a better offense than Iowa, which is crazy to say that Iowa's, 2 losses this season. They've got a better offense than Iowa. But some other score updates around college football. Texas A&M up 21-10 against South Carolina. That's a team that's been surprising this year. South Carolina 2-5 after what happened last year, the way they ended. You'd think they'd be better there, Gross.
Well, absolutely, with Spencer Rattler at quarterback, and you look at if you Google 2024 NFL Draft quarterbacks, Spencer Rattler's name's not at the top of the list, but he's in the conversation. So obviously you got a guy that we're very familiar with here in the Valley, but they're just struggling, and the coach is very frustrated. I saw him getting off the bus today. Didn't look like he still had his boot on. I don't know if just for pride's sake, his foot hurts, but he won't wear the boot or whatever. But yeah, something just, look, when you're South Carolina, it's tough in the SEC anyways, but it looks like a lot of self-inflicted wounds for the Gamecocks this year.
Last game I want to mention, a team on the rise in the Big 12, 28-0 right now, Kansas State over Houston. That's a team that's been clicking right now. They started off slow. They had that early Missouri loss, but this is a team, Gross. I'm not saying they're going to slip in the Big 12 championship, but if you're a team like Oklahoma and Texas, watch out for Kansas State. You don't want to take them lightly. They look like a team that could disrupt some college football hopes for either Texas or Oklahoma.
Kansas State was a 17.5-point favorite going into that game, point total at 59.5. And you're absolutely right. It seems like every year Kansas State's in there, whether they're in the conversation for the college football playoffs or if they're just, like you said, having a better year than people expect. They're in there messing it up for somebody else is what they tend to do. So that's what you get from the K-State Wildcats, Dan Minucci. All right, we will step aside here because we need to prepare. We need to get ready. You need to rest your vocal cords. Coming up after the break, we will catch up with Marco D'Angelo, our regular. He joins us every Saturday at 11:30. He's from wagertalk.com. You can follow Marco on Twitter at Marco in Vegas, and he's going to be by here shortly to pick a couple games for us. That's coming up on Fox Sports 910.
All clear. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Looking for a change in your career? All City Towing is searching for motivated teammates to join their team. Current openings now available in customer service, tow truck operators, yard management, facilities maintenance, and dispatch. Apply online at allcitytowing.com/careers or call 480-833-7878.
I'm attorney Kevin Rowe. Have you been charged with a crime you didn't commit? It happens more than you think. When your liberty is on the line, you need an experienced attorney that will aggressively fight for you. Lerner & Rowe Law Group handles DUI and all other criminal charges. And with our affordable payment plans, it's easier than you think to get the defense you need. If the police made a mistake, call Lerner Road today. We're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to take your call.
Lerner and Road is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
It's Jason Payne, owner of State 48 Roofing and your sexy status roof guy on Instagram and Facebook. Lesser roofers cut corners, cobbling together patchwork roofs to meet a budget, not State 48 Roofing. Give us a call today for your maintenance, repair, or full replacement needs.
Hey, sports fans, celebrate every big game with El Bandito Yankee, an ultra-premium tequila made from 100% Blue Weber agave in the highlands of Jalisco. Their certified additive-free Blanco and Reposado features a unique oxygenation process for a rich smoothness without that tequila burn. It's why they won platinum and gold medals and are now listed as one of the world's top tequilas by Rolling Stone. Head over to your local store, favorite bar, or restaurant in all 7 Barrio Queen locations. Go to elbanditoyankee.com and break out the Bandito with the official tequila of Game Day.
See your Valley Chevy dealers today during Chevy's truck season. Every truck has a story. Make yours a strong one. It's Chevy truck season. See your Valley Chevy dealers today.
Hey, this is Kelly Cooper. Are you ready for the ultimate sports experience? Look no further than BKD's Backyard Joint. At BKD's, we're the destination for the best food, drinks, and sports experience in the Valley. Located at the corner of Pecos and McQueen and Chandler, BKD's Backyard Joint, where every day is game day.
Get ready for double the fun on the 101. Introducing the Salt River Rewards Program at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort, the Valley's newest and best. With multiple tiers and endless benefits, we've got something for everyone. Don't miss out on the excitement. Salt River Rewards, the Valley's premier player rewards program, now at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. 2 properties, 1 amazing club, offering limitless fun on the 101. Discover the best in the Valley at saltriverrewards.com.
Got the urge to pick games each week? Thursday, Sunday, even Mondays? Then sign up now for the Twin Peaks
1 minute.
Fan Pick'em, courtesy of Blue Moon and Coors Light. It's totally free to play. Head to fanpick'em.com. That's fanpick'em.com.
I'm Byron Brown, the anti-lawyer lawyer. When it comes to your personal injury case, I'm straight to the point. I'll answer your call, no BS.
We got Marco.
Intimate parts need the gentle, easy trim of a Gillette trimmer, and some need the closeness and comfort of a Gillette Intimate razor. While others,
Jax, I like that. Florida State's loving Kiki.
The best a man can get down there. Buy now.
Joe Brown here with Accident Law Group. If you were hurt in an accident, find us on the web at accidentlawgroup.com.
30 seconds.
Why is iHeartRadio the #1 streaming radio app? Free music.
Free live radio stations from all over the country.
Free podcasts.
Free playlists.
Free contests. Free artist radio stations.
Commercial-free stations. It's free. I love iHeartRadio. Join the millions of music, radio, and podcast fans on the #1 streaming radio app now.
iHeartRadio.
iHeartRadio.
I know.
iHeartRadio.
Free never sounded so good.
Here we go.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAC Sports.
I like that Kiki, Keon Johnson.
Exclusively on.
That was awesome. And you're. Welcome back in.
Mike Gross, Jackson Groff with you at the Sportsbook at Casino Arizona. And regular listeners know it's time when we head up to Las Vegas. Say hello to regular contributor, friend of the program, from WagerTalk.com, it's Marco D'Angelo.
Marco! What's happening?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Happy Saturday to you, Marco. Always good to hear from you as we are here, as I said, at Casino Arizona, watching football, talking football. How good is this? And you are always good enough to join us, and lots to get to. It's the busy season there. In your industry with obviously football in full swing, Major League Baseball World Series, hockey, basketball, all of it. And we're glad we could catch up with you. And we got a couple games we want to get to, a big one. And it seems like we're hanging out in the Pac-12 a lot, which is certainly interesting given the fact that it will be no more a year from now. But we'll take advantage of it while we can. Interesting game today, though. Oregon at Utah got the attention of Game Day. They were in town, and Salt Lake City looking beautiful. Oregon comes in. I see that they're a 6.5-point favorite, and the point total sits at 47.5 for that one, Marco.
Yeah, guys, and how ironic is it that, as you said, we keep going to the Pac-12 because they are some of the better games of the week, week in and week out. And as you said, they're blowing it up after this season. So it's a shame on that aspect of it. But you look here at Oregon, and Oregon comes into this game, and they're taking on a Utah team who, has been one of those teams the last couple years that have been, the dominant force in the Pac-12. You never thought you would say that, but one of the reasons that they do so well is they are one of the rare physical teams that actually plays defense in the Pac-12. The Pac-12's always been what I refer to as a finesse league, where, it's all offense, no defense, but that causes teams problems. Now, last week, Utah, what an epic game. They had the big lead on USC. USC comes storming back, takes the lead late in the game, and when they scored, I said, you know what, I think you might have just left a little bit too much on the clock. There was only a minute something left on that clock, but yet it proved that it was too much, is that USC defense that, has been their Achilles heel for the last couple of years and really has been Lincoln Riley's Achilles heel no matter where he's been. It's all offense, no defense. Utah went down the field and got the game-winning field goal. They put up 34 points last week against USC. They're facing a totally different defense this week. Oregon is one of those other teams that, although they are an offensive juggernaut, they play some really good defense. And I think that this is going to be that type of game where Utah, they're going to slow Oregon down, but Utah's not going to be able to move the football in the fashion that they did last week. And I think as this game goes on, it'll be close early, but I think there's just going to be too many possessions where Utah settles for a field goal and Oregon punches it in for a touchdown, and you just cannot win playing an Oregon team kicking field goals. And I think that's what's going to end up happening to Utah. It's also ironic last week, big day for the quarterback and for Utah, and they put up 34 points the week that they finally announced Cam Rising's done for the season. I mean, every week he kept being on the injury list and holding out hope that we were going to get to see him, but he hasn't played a game this year, and they are officially pulling the plug on him. So it is the team as it is. They are a good team, but I like Oregon to bounce back. And if you look at last week's game, one last thing about Oregon, they won last week, but they didn't cover. A little bit of a lackluster performance, and that was to be expected because they were coming off that gut-wrenching loss to Washington the week before and then had this game on deck. And you guys know me over the years, that's the perfect sandwich game. Coming off Washington and having Utah on deck, they thought they just had to show up and they would win. Well, they did show up, they did win, but they didn't cover the spread. You'll see the real Oregon today. Call it 34-20 Oregon.
34-20 Oregon, and if my math serves me correctly there, Marco, you're going with the over on that one too. The over-under total, I believe, is at 47. So you're right on the line there. You're going with the over for that game. All right, Marco. Gosh, I don't know if I like going with the Cardinals here every week for you because they're always the underdog in this, but how does this matchup favor? Who do you favor in this matchup? Ravens at Cardinals. Ravens, one of the hottest teams in the league, favored by 10 points. A lot of points there, Marco. What do you like?
Yeah, and I've been picking on Arizona the last few weeks. So I'm not going to do it this week. I'm going to tell you why. Not that I am in love with Arizona, but I'm going to give you a few things that I'm looking at. And then, I got to bring one super stat every week for you, and I got one in this game. So we'll save that for last. But we're going to look at Baltimore. And Baltimore, guys, was my biggest play of the week last week in the NFL. I absolutely loved the situation for Baltimore, and the reason being is they were playing Detroit at home. And if you remember the year before, they had that close scare in Detroit, had to win it on a big long field goal late. But it was the spot that Detroit was in. Detroit was coming off another win. They are, kind of the toast of the town. Remember, coming into the season this year, there were two teams that everybody was talking about. Of course, the Jets were getting all the hype with Aaron Rodgers. But who was the second team getting the most hype? It was the Detroit Lions. And so far, they had lived up to all of that hype. Well, they got a game on deck last week. And I always look at the schedule to see who a team just played, who a team has coming up. And the fact that they were playing on Monday Night Football this week made it a major distraction, I felt, last week. This is a team that's not on, Monday Night Football that often. We know that teams love playing on Monday Night Football because the entire world is watching you on Monday night. You're the only football game, but not only is the country watching you, all of your peers around the league. That's the one game that everybody can sit down and watch the game. So they love to be on Monday Night Football. They got caught looking ahead. In Baltimore, this is a team that is getting better as the season's progressing. Remember, they put a new offense in this year in Baltimore. They gave Lamar Jackson all the money. They changed the offense. They went out, bought him some toys to play with and throw the football to. We're starting to see the benefits of that. So why in the world would I even consider taking Arizona this week? Well, this is why. This is going to be the fourth road game in 5 weeks for Baltimore. And if you look at what they've played, starting with the beginning of October in this road stretch that they've had, they had to go to Cleveland, one of their big rivals, bigger rival Cleveland-wise than Baltimore. But we know Cleveland's got a good defense. We know Cleveland plays physical football like Baltimore does. That was a tough game for them. Then they turned around the very next week and played their arch rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I tell you that is one of the heat. Pittsburgh and Baltimore is the equivalent of Ohio State and Michigan on the college level. Okay, they hate each other. It's a physical game. That was tough. Then what they have to do, for the third week in a row, they were on the road. Technically a home game, but they were on the road in London. Horrible scheduling spot. Then they returned home and played Detroit, which the advantage was there because I felt Detroit was looking ahead. They got that done. Now they're back out on the road. And this is one of those games where I say they're going to look past Arizona. Arizona's been playing horrible. They're not scoring points. Baltimore's going to feel they just got to show up and they're going to win. And too often, that's the one concern I have about Baltimore is they have a tendency to play to the level of their competition. Joshua Dobbs, started the season out decent, has been regressing. Last week, only 122 yards passing. That concerns me. 20 of 34, good completion ratio, but they're not taking the ball downfield. You have 20 completions and only 122 yards. Mm-hmm. That's not getting it done. But we're playing the spot here. And then I told you we've got a stat. And this is the spot where fat and sassy Baltimore looks past them. The last 10 years in the NFL, a team that is a road favorite of 3.5 to 10 points, who are averaging outscoring their opponents by 10 points or more per game on the season and is coming off a 10-point win in their last game, 10-point or more, this angle has gone 32-8 against the spread, playing against Baltimore in this situation. I'm on Arizona. Are they going to get the win? No. Baltimore will find a way to win this game, but I've got it as a low-scoring, ugly game, 21-17 Baltimore. Do the math, add 10 onto that. That means we're going Arizona plus the points.
I'm sitting here listening to Marco. He breaks this information out every week. And I'm thinking more and more, Jackson, that you probably have people locked in a room somewhere. You don't let them out until they give you stats like that.
Is there any way you can give us the password of that database you guys use too? Oh, my gosh, Marco.
That's crazy. The last 10 years.
I can't give away all the secrets.
My goodness, dropping the knowledge. That's amazing.
That's why he's one of the best, Gross.
Hey, Marco, in addition to the football that we've been talking about, the World Series underway last night from Texas, a gut punch for Diamondback fans. But what's the action like as the Rangers and the Diamondbacks kicked off that World Series yesterday?
Well, the truth of the matter is, you want to talk about gut punches. I was there on the receiving end of that gut punch because I had Arizona last night. And, handicapping tip for all your listeners. Never mention that you've got a winner before the game's over. I was at dinner with another radio colleague, and we're finishing up dinner, and we're watching the game, and they're going to the bottom of the ninth. He goes, "Man, nice play, nice pick, nice underdog winner, buddy." And I go, "You just mushed me. I know you did." And sure enough, it happened. But the action is always going to get the money in Vegas. Bettors don't care who's playing. They're going to bet the games. But, TV ratings, we're going to end up, when this is done, we're going to see it's not the sexiest matchup. But tonight, both pitchers have been pitching surprisingly well. You look at Jordan Montgomery, what he has done for Texas down the stretch. 7 of his last 8 starts, he's allowed 2 runs or less. Merle Kelly for Arizona, he's been good as well. 7 of his last 9 starts, 2 runs or less. So yours truly tonight, I am on under 9 runs in this game. I know you hold your breath when you get to that Texas bullpen, but 2 stats for you. Arizona this year, off of a loss, a 1-run loss, in their next game, 15-3 to the under.
All right.
We're going to go ahead and take the under tonight, under 9 in game 2.
Marco, is October/November like one of the most exciting times to be a sports bettor, because we have the NBA starting as well, but I know you're a big college basketball guy, and that's starting to heat up too. Have you seen much action, or what are you guys, I guess, Wager Talk doing over there as you transition to now NBA, then college basketball as well?
Well, again, you've got everything going. You've got hockey, you've got NBA just started this week, and as you said, college will be in a way. We will have daily shows with college basketball. We actually have a guy on our site right now that has been previewing 30 teams in 30 days. Every day he's previewing a different college basketball team. So we're working. We're hitting the ground running. We tell everybody, we are a site that sells picks, but we have more free information, good winning free information, things to help you make yourself. It's kind of corny phrase, but we say it all the time. We want to make you a better, and we help you do that with all this type of information. So check out the daily shows. The NBA shows have already started, and we'll have daily college basketball shows as soon as the season officially starts.
And the website that Marco's referring to is wagertalk.com for all that information. And, of course, follow Marco on Twitter at Marco in Vegas. Marco, as always, great stuff. We appreciate you. Let's do it again next week.
All right, guys, and you know the drill. Let's cash some tickets.
There we go. Marco D'Angelo from wagertalk.com every week here on the show. We promised you a look at bowl-eligible teams. We didn't get to it before Marco got on, so we'll do that on the other side. We'll be right back on Fox.
Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Check this out. This is The Herd. You're excited. I'm excited.
With Colin Cowherd.
D'Angelo Russell played more minutes than LeBron. In no world, under any circumstances, unless LeBron's in street clothes, should D'Lo play more minutes than LeBron James. I don't care what LeBron is. LeBron could be 80. I don't care. D'Lo got benched last year in the
This
playoffs.
is The Herd. Monday at 10. Tell your smart speaker to play Fox Sports 910.
Need a new big screen for the football season? Twin Peaks, Blue Moon, and Coors Light has your chance right now. Text PEAKS to 59925. Standard message and data rates apply. That's PEAKS to 59925.
Hey, this is Kelly Cooper. Are you ready for the ultimate sports experience? Look no further than BKD's Backyard Joint. At BKD's, we're the destination for the best food, drinks, and sports experience in the Valley. Located at the corner of Pecos and McQueen and Chandler, BKD's Backyard Joint, where every day is game day.
Have you been arrested for something you didn't do? When your liberty is on the line, you need an aggressive, experienced attorney to defend your rights. Lerner & Rowe Law Group is the firm you can trust with your freedom. Our criminal defense attorneys have represented thousands of clients across the state. And with our affordable payment plans, you can get the defense you need immediately. If you've been wrongly charged with a crime, time is not on your side. Call Lerner & Rowe today for a free consultation. We're available to help you 24/7.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
See your Valley Chevy dealers today during Chevy's truck season. Every truck has a story. Make yours a strong one. It's Chevy truck season. See your Valley Chevy dealers today.
Escape the scorching heat and get indoors at Putting World's 18-hole putting experience. Stay cool while mastering the greens and having a blast with family and friends. Visit Putting World today.
Tune in Mondays from 1 to 4 as Rockin' Minuch with Jimmy B broadcasts live from the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. The Sportsbook at the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona is sports fans' paradise. That's the guys live every Monday from CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona.
Sun Devil football returns to Mountain America Stadium to take on the Washington State Cougars Saturday, October 28th. For ASU's homecoming. Gadaboo with the catch, has the first down, stays on his feet, and he's going to go. Get your ASU Washington State tickets today by calling 480-727-0000. Touchdown Devils! Or go online to sundeviltickets.com. The legend of Cameron Scadaboo continues to grow.
Hi, this is Don.
Has he played yet?
Pizzeria. We started in 1998 with our original store in Tempe. Fast forward to 2023 with 6 stores across the valley. We've had a lot of fun along the way.
But I mean, just him playing will win Comeback Player of the Year.
Thank you to our employees and customers for 25 fantastic years. We have never changed our core ingredients or recipes, and every pizza is made by hand. I'm a proud
Tua should. I was just about to say he's up there for MVP. Should be.
Athletics. Learn more about our story at venezias.com.
But what about top 5? Tua up there, top 5?
Like you're winning. That's because they offer proven quality at lower than low prices. In fact, we guarantee that you and your family will love how Kroger brand products taste, or you get your money back. So next time you're shopping for the family, look for delicious Kroger brand products because they'll make you all feel like you're winning. Shop now, in-store, or online.
I just hate that it's in, like it's a quarterback award because I think McCaffrey should be up there.
Breath, stomach issues, lower back pain. How does it all add up? If you have
+3. Ridiculous.
symptoms, it's time to talk to get the full picture.
Wow.
It may add up to transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy. ATTR-CM is a rare and underdiagnosed disease. Recognize the signs and discuss them with your doctor soon. Learn more at connectwithyourheart.com. That's connectwithyourheart.com.
Here we go.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Back to Take the Points, powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively on Fox Sports 910.
And you're live.
Thanks again to Marco D'Angelo. Follow him on Twitter at Marco in Vegas. The website. What the heck are you doing? Wagertalk.com. Hey, before the break, we mentioned it's that time of year. We start to look at bowl eligibility, Jackson, as teams are starting to rack up the wins. And bowl matchups and where the bowl is sitting in the press box to scout these teams. And an interesting list, in some cases not that surprising. One of the things I do like, though, and we mentioned it to Marco, and he kind of commented as well, the Pac-12, where, the last couple of years it's been a little bit of a struggle. 5 teams already eligible out of this conference, USC, Oregon State, Washington, Oregon, and Utah, all bowl eligible right now. As the Pac-12 fights over money and, tries to decide who's going to get all the riches that are left over when the conference no longer exists, that's part of the equation because money from the bowls goes back to the conference and then dispersed out to the schools.
I don't care what people saying about, why there's so many bowl games. We should have less bowl games. No, this is great for the student athletes. It's a great celebration to wrap up the season. It's a big deal making a bowl game. I mean, obviously, the bowl gifts are obviously an added plus, the vacation, the atmosphere, the trip, and being able to play another team in a different conference. But I love the 45 bowl games they have. They should have even more with the 12-team playoff being a thing now. But gross, bowl games should keep being around for a while.
Jackson, I could not agree with you more. If you're a town, a city, you have a football stadium, you have enough money to pay the requisite guarantee, and you say, we're going to have the Jackson and Mike Bowl someplace, and we've got the money, and we can invite 2 teams, and they show up, and maybe ESPN broadcast it, play the game. I don't care if some guy in Cincinnati or some guy in Buffalo doesn't want to watch my game. If 2 teams show up, their fans show up, ESPN shows up, have the game. We'll give them cool swag when they get here. We'll have a little bit of a parade for them. We'll have a bowl game. Albuquerque has a bowl game. Guess what? People show up. Tucson has a bowl game, right? I could not agree with you more. What do you care? If you don't want to watch the game, don't watch it. Don't watch. Nobody's making you watch these games. But guess what? It's good for TV. It's good for wagering. It's fun for stuff like this.
So you look at the two bowl games here, Guaranteed Rate Bowl and the Fiesta Bowl. Right now, the projections are for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Baylor, Minnesota. Okay, not terrible. Baylor, obviously, a prominent program in the Big 12. Minnesota with PJ Fleck. And then the Fiesta Bowl right now, you've got Washington Air Force. And we talked before the program about Air Force being a West Coast team, but you wonder if they're going to come here, the Fiesta Bowl. We love the Air Force, but how will the fan base travel from Air Force to the Fiesta Bowl versus a Washington versus a Texas?
Well, the problem with military academies in general and Air Force specifically is they don't have that traditional fan base, right? They don't have, like a core base of fans. They're a national brand, and they don't play necessarily at the highest level. But Air Force, here's the deal, Jackson. They're 7-0 right now. They're ranked 19th. They got Colorado State tonight.
Very tough Colorado State team.
Then they have Army for their second leg of the Triple Crown for the Commander-in-Chief trophy, but that's a winnable game. They've got Hawaii, and then all of a sudden, you look at the last two games. They've got UNLV. That's the game you look at now. UNLV, all of a sudden, they're bowl eligible, they're relevant, and then they wrap things up with a trip to Boise, Idaho, right after Thanksgiving. This Air Force team is fascinating because they're 7-0, and you could make a case that they win out. And if they win out, it's going to be interesting, right? Because I made the comment when we were talking about this, the Fiesta Bowl doesn't want any part of Air Force, and I understand that. Air Force, if you're coming to Phoenix, they're better fit for the second bowl, now called the Guaranteed Rate Bowl.
And it's not because of Air Force; it's just about money.
Oh, it's all. If you're not in the college football playoffs, it's all about exposure and revenue. And if you're putting on a bowl game, taking care of your sponsors and your committees and all that, absolutely, right? And if you look at that matchup, Washington and Air Force, Washington by far and away is the better pick for the Fiesta Bowl, just because they're that more traditional program. But somebody's going to have to take Air Force if they run the table. And that's going to be a fascinating thing. And the other thing that is that these military academies are a tough out for teams when they get into those one-and-done type of games, when you have to prepare for the offenses that they run, right? And the other thing is they're undersized, but they'll fight you. They will fight you every time. They're tough kids. They love playing football. And when they're done playing football, 99.99% of them are going to go into their branch, and they're going to be officers in their branch, and they're going to work in the military for a living once it's done. So this is it for them. Playing college football in a bowl game, that's it, right? And so you got two constituents that don't want Air Force. I understand why the Fiesta Bowl probably isn't excited about it. And then let's say it is Washington. You probably don't want that matchup either if you're Washington. You'd probably rather have somebody else.
I agree with that 100%. But yeah, no, it's cool to see these bowl eligible teams get there. Some of these teams that we didn't project to be so good, like UNLV or even Nebraska, 4-3 right now. They've got a tough game against Purdue, but they win this one. And how bad the Big Ten West is, they could not only. I mean, it's weird to say this. Do they slip into that Big Ten championship? It's kind of they're starting to click, Gross. I don't know, but you saying Nebraska when you think they're starting to click. What happens? They turn back to the old Nebraska.
They just have disappointed so much. And look, if you're Nebraska, get into a bowl game, even if it's a lower tier bowl game, that's good because, again, one of the other things that playing in a bowl game gives you as a head coach is more time with your players, right? Especially a guy who's a first-year coach trying to institute his system, institute his guys, and flush all the bad stuff out of that Nebraska program. So if he gets extra time to practice and to prepare for a bowl game, that will be good for them in the long run.
Another projection for the Fiesta Bowl, as we were talking about the Fiesta Bowl, there's a whole list of them. They got LSU Penn State, would be a hell of a matchup. Oregon Air Force, okay, not bad. Speedy Oregon against an Air Force team that likes to run the football would be kind of interesting. Penn State Air Force, Oregon Texas, and then Washington Tulane are some of the projections right now for the Fiesta Bowl.
See, if I'm the Fiesta Bowl, Air Force is a better pick for me than Tulane is. Because that's really
they traveled well last year. Again, that was the Cotton Bowl, but they did travel better, and they beat USC, so they've got that on their resume from last year.
As we wrap up our number one here, Jackson, we can't let it go because you have been carrying the banner for the Arizona Wildcats all season. I'll give you credit for that. And it looks like I'm going to owe you some sort of lunch or
homemade breakfast sandwich.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sure security here would have no issue with that. But the Wildcats sit at 4-3 heading into their game today with Oregon State. And you look down the stretch for them, just like we did at Air Force. You got that game tonight on ESPN. Then they're home against UCLA, and then at Colorado, home against Utah, at Arizona State to wrap things up. And so to get to 6, if you're the Arizona Wildcats, you can find a pathway for that now because of that big win in Pullman.
I think the biggest thing is get Noah Fafita hot and get those wide receivers in McMillan and Cowan going early. Oregon State not really good in pass defense. They struggled against Wazoo in their only loss this season. So I think they get the passing game going. Will open up Jonah Coleman. On the other side of it, Damian Martinez, their running back, has been pounding the rock. Make DJU uncomfortable in that atmosphere at night. It's gonna be a good game. The spread right now is 3, and we're gonna pick this game later. It's a toss-up, Gross. We'll have all show to think about where we want to pick on this one.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and it's amazing what a win, again, a quality win, will do in terms of how you look at a team. Because I'll give him credit for it. He said it, but I was thinking with Arizona, and we've talked about this. Teddy Bruschi said it. I keep going back to the show us. Finish a game. Show us that you're serious about this. And it's amazing how that changes the whole narrative around a football program when one game goes your way that way. All right, that's going to do it for hour number 1. Still an hour. Hode Rubino will preview ASU for us coming up at 12:15, and then our good friend Casey from the Sportsbook here will be by as well. We'll be right back for hour number 2 on Fox Sports 910.
All clear.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the scenic views stick around after the sun sets, and your favorite cocktails keep you company long after overtime. Where else can you unwind with bourbon and late-night bites? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get ready for double the fun on the 101. Introducing the Salt River Rewards Program at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort, the Valley's newest and best. With multiple tiers and endless benefits, we've got something for everyone. Don't miss out on the excitement. Salt River Rewards, the Valley's premier player rewards program, now at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. 2 properties, 1 amazing club, offering limitless fun on the 101. Discover the best in the Valley at saltriverrewards.com.
Any car dealer in Arizona can compete on price. That's what dealers do. But not many dealers can compete on customer satisfaction. Like Wright Toyota. Make the right choice. Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. Just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard. And online at wrighttoyota.com.
Lowe's knows pros want savings now. That's why, as an MVP's Pro Rewards member, you get volume savings on orders of $1,500 or more at the Pro Desk. And there's more. We've lowered our prices on select top products like electrical wire and drywall, so you can get the job necessities for less. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. In-store only. Exclusions, restrictions, and more terms apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Gillette Intimate gives guys a gentle and easy shave on there. And around there, and even under there.
Don't treat your groin like junk. Respect it with Gillette Intimate, the best a man can get. Buy now at a retailer near you.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 biggie bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
The Herd with Colin Cowherd, Monday from 10 to 1. This is KGME Phoenix, KESC HD2 Phoenix, an iHeart radio station.
I also don't have his number still. I can just type it in if you want. Oh, sorry.
This is the My Guy Referrals Weather Center. Visit myguy.com for 5-star local referrals. Make My Guy your guy.
We have begun the weekend on the right. Plenty of sunshine and the afternoon at about 85 degrees. Overnight, clear and very cool. The low 59. And what a Sunday ahead. A mix of clouds and sunshine. The high
Thanks.
For the Fox 10 weather experts, I'm Corey McCloskey.
This report is
I'm in
sponsored
shambles
by
right
Taco
now.
Bell. OMG, hot and crisp nacho fries are back, and there's even more fries to love now at Taco Bell. But it's now or never. Yeah, these fries.
Well,
covered in
it's a
bold
good thing.
Mexican spices
We're
with
going
hot
live
sauce
soon.
Are only here for a limited time at participating U.S. Taco Bell locations for a limited time only, while supplies last.
Let me take a look at what you're talking about.
Time for Arizona's only local sports gambling radio show. Take the points.
I haven't checked it in a while.
Sportsbook at CAC Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona. Your home for uncensored sports betting opinions, analysis, and advice. The guys have you covered for all the games. Now, take the points on Fox Sports 910 and the
And you're live.
radio app.
Hour number 2. Mike Gross, Jackson Groff, we're out at Casino, Arizona. Loop 101 in McKellar, sitting in the sports book. Another nice crowd here, gathered around the TVs, watching the early games. They got Kansas and Oklahoma. What else we got going on? We've got Maryland. I'm sorry, not Maryland. We've got Penn State and Indiana.
Kind of closer than what people
expected. Then over your shoulder, we've got Maryland and Northwestern, a game you called out early on in the show in terms of kind of an upset and a surprise there. So lots of college football, and they continue all on into the evening hours until the last game is done here at the Sportsbook. Come on out and see them, and then it'll start all over again tomorrow, Jackson, for Sunday football. And are we in Germany tomorrow?
I think we are in Germany.
I wonder if we'll ask Casey.
No, I think it's next.
They're going to Germany soon. So we'll ask.
I think it's next week.
Do they open up and are they here live when they play those early European games? Because those are early.
I believe it's next week with the Dolphins and the Chiefs are going to Germany next week. And I think they're going to Mexico later on as well. They're trying to expand to the international. At 7:30 a.m. next week in Frankfurt Stadium. You can get the early odds for that Kansas City Chiefs-Dolphins game. Chiefs favored by 2.5.
Are you a fan of the globalization of U.S. football, American football?
No, I don't. The ratings are probably down because it's early in the morning. I don't see what kind of money they get over there with the tickets. I feel like some of the tickets are, fans that they just need to get in there because, you always see the random jerseys they have over there in these stadiums. Like you'll see a Raiders jersey probably next week.
Oh, because that doesn't happen here.
But it happens more over there.
I'm going to the Packers-Rams game next week, and I'm wearing a Raiders jersey.
That's basically international. That's over there in Green Bay.
Green Bay. I'm so afraid it's going to be cold, Jackson. I don't know. You went to school in Montana. I haven't been cold in like 30 years.
Yeah, it's 27 degrees there in Montana today for all those folks that are either cold or sick of the weather here over in Arizona. We'll be blessed that it's warm over here because it's cold over there. But
Bless up.
Gross, let's talk about these 12:30 games. There's a lot of great 12:30 slate games, and they're about to get started here shortly. But let's start at 1 Georgia at Florida, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party at 12:30. Georgia favored by 14 here. A lot of points without Brock Bowers, and this is a Florida team in Graham Mertz that's starting to get things clicking. Big game for Billy Napier and the Gators.
Yeah, I think so. But here's the thing. Georgia has shown time and time again that they're just way too deep. Like way too deep. And, you talk about recruiting and give Arizona a little bit of a hard time because we're talking about, hey, they haven't won any football games, but they celebrate recruiting. Georgia kills it in recruiting every year, and they win football games, right? So I just think, is it a loss? Of course. You lose a star player like that, it hurts. You don't like to see it. But they're way too deep for that to concern if I'm looking at this game. 14.5 in this game doesn't worry me. I know it's a rivalry game, but I think Georgia's that much better. Point total is at 49.5 on that one.
I agree. 49.5 is kind of it's an interesting over-under total there. But, this is a Georgia team. Carson Beck's been dealing it. You wonder who those wide receivers are going to be to step up. But if you're Billy Napier in Florida, I think you bring every trick play you've got, all the fake punts, all the the chaos that you can bring to this Georgia team. But I agree with you, Gross. The Kirby Smart and the boys will be right at Florida. I like the 14 there.
Yeah, absolutely. What else you got at the 12:30 slot there, Jackson?
The biggest game, college game day, 8 Oregon at 13 Utah. We heard what Marco said. He likes Oregon in this one -6.5. But you talk about Utah, 18 straight at home, 27 straight with the home crowd because their only loss at home was during COVID with no crowd. You don't really count that when it comes to the home record there for Utah. But is Kyle Whittingham the most underrated head coach in all of college football?
If he's not, he's near the top of the list.
Man, what he's doing right now, what the ability they have to recruit there in Utah, and then as well as they got a third-string quarterback. This guy wasn't even the second string. Their second string got hurt before the season even started. Bryson Barnes, the pig farmer. Ever since when they announced that Cam Rising was going to sit a year, it definitely changed the mindset of Bryson Barnes. And look, Bo Nix, he's been in there before. I think this is 67th, 80th start in college football today. So I'm excited for this game. I don't really know who I'm going to go with. This is one of those I would probably stay away. But if Oregon strikes early, then maybe hop on that Oregon points or the money line.
And I know you said Marco likes the game. I heard it, and his pick was Oregon 34, Utah 20. And I had to understand this when Marco breaks down the games for us. He drops the knowledge, he backs it up with the my heart says, man, Utah at home in the stadium. They had a game there today. They had the University of Utah School of whatever. They had their seismic, so whatever you measure earthquakes with. You know, the amount that they were making the earth shake just for game day, and that's not a full stadium. I don't know. I don't know how I would go on this one either. Like I said, I understand Marco's position on this one, but it's still. Stay away. Just enjoy the game. And this is one that you just want to sit back and enjoy.
Don't be stressed with your money. Just enjoy the game of football. Maybe even put a live bet on there. I would think if you can kind of sense who's advantaging in this one. But another 12:30 game, another ranked one. 20 Duke at 18 Louisville. Now this one's interesting, Gross, because Louisville is coming off of a tough loss, a really surprising loss against Pittsburgh just a couple weeks ago. And then for Duke, will Ryan Leonard be playing in this game is the big question. And also Jawar Jordan for Louisville is questionable at running back. But Duke, Louisville, ACC, do or die, both with one losses in the ACC. Louisville's favored by 6.
Louisville at home against, really what it comes down to me is, I should have started with Louisville at home against that Duke defense. That to me is it. And when in doubt, go with defense. So again, I would go the Duke route. 6.5, as you said, point total at 45.5 for that one that kicks off shortly from Louisville, Kentucky.
I like Duke in this one too. And with Jack Plummer, Gilbert Grad, and Jawar Jordan, who is their offense. When I heard he was questionable, that's big news for Louisville fans out there. I like the discipline of Duke, run the football, play good defense, but I also like the under in this one as well.
I like how you mix in the Arizona angle on these games because it's true.
Their leading passer and rusher are both from Arizona. You got to mention.
You got to mention it. And you and I both work high school games on Friday nights. And one of the things that I always mention when we're doing the wrap-up show is you turn the TV on, and you and I were looking at a Division II game with 2 undefeated teams played. There's a handful of Arizona kids in that game. You talk about Louisville and Duke halfway across the country. Arizona kids in that way. Arizona kids everywhere at the next level in college football.
What are your thoughts when we look at the next slate of games in the 4 o'clock hour? 21 Tennessee at Kentucky. This is an interesting game. Tennessee coming off of a tough loss last week. They did look better offensively. And then Kentucky, they started strong. They've lost 2 games in a row. Who do you like in this one?
Well, what did we say? Arizona kids everywhere. The other thing you can say is Michigan quarterbacks everywhere. And Joe Milton's starting to play well, right? I think Joe Milton you can show week by week, seeing the progress, the improvement. I like Tennessee in this one, even though it's on the road. Tennessee by 4.5 is the number, and I like that. I look for a Tennessee win.
I agree. I think they bounce back when it's all said and done. You look at the quarterback, Milton's been playing better. My only worry with Tennessee is Ray Davis on the other side with Kentucky. At home, he's got 781 yards, and I believe 300 of those were against Florida in that one game. So that'll be an interesting game. I agree with you, Tennessee, on that one.
Another game getting underway this afternoon at 4 o'clock is, and we talked a little bit about the team, Air Force, but it's a matchup, in-state rival against Colorado State up in Fort Collins. So Air Force on the road. It's a short trip, a couple hours by 25 to Fort Collins. But here's an Air Force team minus their starting quarterback. still playing really, really well. 14.5-point favorites on the road. The number on this one seems a little high for me, 47.5. I like Air Force in this one as they're on a run to disrupt things in college football this year.
They've got one of the best running offenses in all of college football. They always do. Their offensive linemen with the ground and pound it, and they also threw the football longest completion in Air Force history, 94 yards last week against Navy. You will talk about bad beats. How about Navy going for 2 there on that last possession?
We were trying to figure.
Gosh, if you can, I'm so sorry for that outcome.
14.5, though, that's a big number. But look, you look at Colorado State team, a lot of notoriety because of how tough they played Colorado. And, you put a little stick in there, but especially as bright as the light was shining on that particular game, I think you have to be careful not to overweight it. But I like Air Force in this game today in Fort Collins.
Last one, Pac-12, 4:30, and this spread went down. It was 17 earlier in the week, favor to UCLA. It's now at 15. Colorado, can they bounce back after a bye week and a terrible loss against Stanford, might I add? On the road at 23 UCLA. We'll pick this game later, but what's your biggest takeaway? What's your biggest keys to victory analysis standout point here when you look at this one?
I agree with you. How does Deion Sanders get his team to rebound and refocus after, as you said, a really bad loss?
Did we mention it was a bad loss?
And the other thing that you have to appreciate about Colorado football now is they don't keep anything internal. Everything goes on video immediately. So no matter what your social media platform is, you can get a bird's eye view into coach talking to the team afterwards, the players talking afterwards, coach's son who doesn't play football with his camera on the sideline giving live commentary when Stanford won that game. You know what's going on at all times with football, right? So how do you recover the rebound after the loss? And for UCLA, again, I don't know.
Yeah, we said before the season when we talked about the rankings and stuff about Arizona and UCLA, the in-establishment quarterback there, we thought Dante Moore was the guy. He's been throwing a lot of turnovers. It came out that Ethan Garbers is going to be starting today. So, again, a lot of questionable stuff, movement on for UCLA. But I agree, 5-2, they've got a good roster. It's just a matter of what they can do at the quarterback position.
You expect more, right? And, pressure on USC, of course, it takes a little bit of the spotlight off UCLA. But, you played this way to the Big Ten because the cards are kind of stacked against you. Obviously, we know it was a money play, right? We know why this is happening. But the cards are stacked against you because the majority of the trouble is on UCLA once they start playing those Big Ten games. And so you got to figure it out. And today would be a day to show that you're starting to figure it out because on paper, you are a football team than Buffalo. So there's no question about it. But I feel comfortable in going in a big way behind UCLA in this game.
Over-under is at 60, which
that's a lot for UCLA too.
That is a lot for UCLA. They don't really score much on the offensive side of the ball too, but the secondary is bad. They're going to have to air it out if they want to win this game.
You have a strong opinion either way?
Well, I'm going to tease it for the end of the show because we do pick the game at the end of the show. However, I think I saw something of Shedeur Sanders, a prop there, over 1.5 touchdowns, total touchdowns rushing and passing there. I do like that over 1.5 to at least get 2 touchdowns there at UCLA.
We'll step aside here. On the other side, we get an ASU preview from Hode Rubino at home today. And a beautiful day out for football. Big crowd expected. Breaks it down for us next right here on Fox Sports 910.
Tell clear points. However, the sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free radio app.
For a new smart TV, Rock and Manute with Jimmy B are giving away 5 65-inch smart TVs. Text PEAKS.
All right, cool. Thank you.
That's PEAKS to 59925. Standard message and data rate apply. Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree blue moon and Coors Light man-sized drafts.
Arizona's headquarters for Toyotas is Wright Toyota. Hey, Rock, for my friends at Wright Toyota in Scottsdale. You will always find the right deal at Wright Toyota. Wright Toyota has been driving Arizona's home for years with their amazing service, pricing, and great selections. I encourage you to discover the difference at Wright Toyota. Make the right choice, Wright Toyota, just off the 101 on Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard, and always online at WrightToyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Check out WrightToyota.com.
Arizona's largest locally owned A-plus BBB rated towing company is All City Towing. They're always looking to add motivated and competitive team members. Do you fit the bill? If so, head on over to allcitytowing.com/careers for more information.
That's PUT to 59925.
When you use your electric vehicle in autopilot or self-driving mode, accidents can still happen. Whether you're considered at fault or not, you may still have a claim. Lerner & Rowe has a dedicated team skilled in this new science. We are the first law firm in America with the ability to review the proprietary software and hold electric vehicle manufacturers responsible. If you or a loved one were injured in an electric vehicle accident, call Lerner & Rowe today.
Lerner & Rowe is the way to go. Call 977-1900.
Tune in Mondays from 1 to 4 as Rockin' Manooch with Jimmy B broadcasts live from the CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona. Sportsbook, the CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona is sports fans' paradise. It's the guys live every Monday from CAZ Sportsbook in Casino, Arizona.
Hey, this is Kelly Cooper. Are you ready for the ultimate sports experience? Look no further than BKD's Backyard Joint. At BKD's, we're not just a sports bar. We're the destination for the best food, drinks, and sports experience in the Valley.
No answer.
Located at the corner of Pecos and McQueen and Chandler, get ready to score big on fun and flavor. Only at BKD's Backyard Joint, where every day is game day. Check us out online at bkdsbackyard.com. That's BKD's.
208207650.
Kroger brand products, you feel like you're winning. That's because they offer proven quality.
Powered by the
Didn't have time to change the song, obviously.
Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona, exclusively.
And we're live.
Welcome back. Jackson Groff, Mike Gross, take you up to 1 o'clock today. Bauer's got the week off. He'll be back with us next Saturday here at the Sportsbook at Casino, Arizona. But coming up this afternoon in Tempe, Jackson, ASU back at it after a really tough loss at Washington. Again, not a game that anybody expected them to win. I remember I didn't even watch the beginning of the game, and I went and dialed in and saw the score. I was like, "Whoa!" Did that whole cartoon thing where he does the eye thing where to squeak
boing,
like
the little sound effect.
Yeah,
I agree.
What's going on here? And I said it before. The expectations are what they are for ASU. But when you get that close and to have that game end essentially the way that it did is tough. And to help us break it down and talk about the Devils as they prepare for the other Washington team today, it's Hode Rubino, the editor and publisher of Devils Digest. Hode, Mike Gross, Jackson Groff, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate you making time for us today. And, I don't want to dwell too much because Coach Dillingham he and his team have moved on, but just to have that ending of that Washington game hang over because, nobody expected anything out of ASU, particularly in Seattle against a team that, is going to carry the Pac-12 banner, yada, yada, yada. The Devils played so well, and to have them play a 12th man in the officials the way it did. And we get used to talking about Pac-12 officials, unfortunately, but really a tough way to end for the Devils last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, it really was. I believe it was a copy and paste, I think, with how the games against USC, Colorado, and Cal unfolded. Another close loss, another game where I feel the defense does put up a great effort, and obviously what they did last week in Seattle will definitely go down as one of the best efforts we've seen, not only this century but probably ever from any Sun Devil defense considering the caliber of an opponent. But you're talking about a Washington team that going into last Saturday was averaging over 44 points and 540 yards of offense. And you absolutely brought them to a halt. And trust me, if you see any team from here on out being able to contain Washington, then you best believe that they absolutely witnessed that ASU defensive game film time and time again, because I think it offered a great blueprint. But for Arizona State, really the entire season, offense and special teams has been the problem. These two units are just not producing at even an average level, one would say. It's kind of ironic that the passing game struggled so much after it really had some better games against Cal and against Colorado, where Trent Bourget threw for over 300 yards in each of those contests. But obviously had his worst game as a Sun Devil quarterback, I would say, last week in Seattle. That definitely hurt the cause. That not being able to convert two of the field goals in such a tight game, that hurts too. And yeah, I mean, you don't want to talk about officiating being a major element, but just keep in mind that egregious picking up the flag on a pass interference when you have video and pictures from here until infinity showing the jersey of Troy Miri, the Arizona State wide receiver, being pulled, and 2 plays later you have a pick six. It's really hard not to talk about the officiating. But nonetheless, I think everybody knows in Tempe what needs to be fixed. Curious to see if it gets implemented in a few hours here.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting game to see there. But I wanted to talk real quick as we wrap up the Washington discussion there. What has been, I guess, a positive through that game and through the first 7 games? I know it's been a tough year, 1-6, but what's a positive, I guess, that ASU fans can look on for today and for the rest of the season in Kenny Dillingham's first year?
Well, for me, the positive is painfully obvious, and that's that you have one of the best defensive units in the Pac-12, and I wouldn't really be too concerned about the stats and the box scores of each game, because we've seen this unit absolutely keep the game at arm's length for the last 4 games, I would say. So you know, as an Arizona State fan, you're always going to be in the game because of your defense, but at some point, the offense and special teams have to do their part. So the positive is right there for everybody to see. I think, unfortunately, what's happening is that the negative, and I should say the consistent negative of both the offense and special teams not stepping up has been really frustrating. The running game was really doormat, I would say, almost the entire season. And when they finally actually hit their stride against Washington, and have a great ground attack, that's when the passing attack stalled.
Yeah.
So it just seems like this offense cannot put a complete effort together. But again, if you're looking at positive, it has to be the ASU defense that they're displaying at a very, very high level. You can't say enough about Brian Ward, the defensive coordinator who came from Washington State, ironically, and the turnaround that he did. Even though the bar was really low with how this group performed in 2022. It really is amazing to see pretty much turning around this unit on the dime and having it be one of the best defenses in the Pac-12 and in a top 40 defense nationwide.
Hode Rubino from Devil's Digest with us here as we talk ASU. They get ready for Washington State today, 5 o'clock on the Pac-12 network if you're not headed out to the stadium. And Hode, this Washington State team really kind of inexplicable right now. To kind of get your hands around them. You look at the way they started the season, a win against Wisconsin, big win against Oregon State. Then the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde part of it, right? 3 in a row on the losing side. And most hard for me to explain, losing to the Arizona Wildcats the way they did, only scoring 6 points at home. What do you expect? What do you see out of this Washington State team that's here in Tempe today?
Yeah, it's a definitely Washington State team that's reeling, as you said. The month of October has been a whole lot different than the month of September, where they reached as high as number 12 in the AP top 25. I just feel that the defense has really fallen apart. For the Cougars, you look at their averages, over 160 yards on the ground, over 275 yards in the air. It's not even that they have one element of the defense that's kind of okay that can maybe help the other. I mean, they're just really getting gassed out from all directions. Cam Moore, their quarterback, it really is a special quarterback. Even with the 3-game skid, he's still averaging over 316 yards passing, 70% completion, 15 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. But basically, when he is the running game for the Cougars, you see there's a lot of defenses being very comfortable, dropping more the defenders in coverage, daring them to run the ball, which you're not able to do, obviously, at a high level, only averaging 87 yards per contest. And I think that's just the type of defense, that's the type of approach that really has halted an offense that in September was scoring on everybody and anybody almost at will, and definitely has come to a screeching halt in the month of October. But I really think it just still comes back to their defense. The last 4 games yielding an average of 35 points. That is absolutely a sign of a defense that has been declining week after week after week. The big question now is here comes an Arizona State offense that scored only 7 points last week. Can they really take advantage of a defensive unit who is not even close to being the caliber of what they faced in Seattle last weekend? That's really going to be the big question over here. But Washington, just like ASU, is hurting. Maybe you can say the ASU is hurting more, being on a 6-game losing streak. But it's not like things are hunky dory in Pullman. And this is a team that usually doesn't play all that well on the road. So maybe it is an opportunity for the Sun Devils to finally notch their first Power 5 win of the season.
Howard Urbino from Devil's Digest joins us here on Take the Points, Fox Sports 910. And I want to transition a little bit off the football discussion. I know the big ASU game today, but basketball is just around the corner there, and you guys got it all covered there at Devil's Digest. The preseason rankings came out a couple weeks ago with ASU at 6. What are your thoughts about this year's men's basketball team for Arizona State, and what can Sun Devils fans expect from this basketball team?
Well, I mean, it's definitely, I think, a very intriguing team, having 9 newcomers in the fold. I think the fact that in all likelihood, and the official announcement hasn't come down yet, but it's definitely forthcoming, is that Adam Miller, the guard transfer from LSU, is not going to be eligible this year. This is something that Arizona State is really going to have to compensate for. If folks recall, it's basically following the same cookie cutter, for lack of a better term, when the NCAA denied the immediate eligibility for wide receiver Jake Smith from ASU and ASU safety Xavier Alford. So they went into the portal, a very, very late addition in Jose Perez, a guard from West Virginia, who ironically never played one game for the Mountaineers, as he was having his own issues with eligibility in years past. But he is a graduate transfer, so he is able to play right away, and we'll see if he's able to really compensate for what expected to be officially the loss of Adam Miller. But I think there's a pretty good nucleus with returning point guard Frankie Collins, Jeremiah Neal, who ASU fans know was probably one of the best players on the team on the last 5 or 7 games of last season, and forward Alonzo Gaffney. One name to keep in mind is Sean Phillips, a 7-foot center, a transfer also from LSU. Somebody who was completely under the radar with the Tigers last year, had a breakout game in the SEC tournament, and by all indications is having a great preseason for Arizona State. Actually could be the best center, the best front court player that Bobby Hurley ever had in SMP. So I'm really curious to see how he does. But in terms of this team being picked middle of the pack in the Pac-12, I think it's a pretty fair assessment. I think both LA schools, Arizona, Oregon and Colorado, are probably the creme de la creme of the conference. And then with most of the other teams, aside from those programs, it's pretty much flip a coin as far as who's going to finish 6, 7, 8. So I'm curious to see how this team really does come together. I mean, you can't overemphasize the fact that when you have 9 newcomers, that the chemistry, the cohesiveness really has to be there sooner rather than later. As you know, they had the foreign tour in the summer. Maybe that did help matters over there. But I don't know if this is a team that can duplicate the 23-win season as they had last year, but maybe they have a chance to surprise, be squarely in the NCAA tournament bubble. I don't think that's really out of the question for Arizona State. As always, they play a very challenging non-conference schedule, so we're going to know in the next 4 to 6 weeks what kind of team we're going to see when Pac-12 play begins.
He's Hode Rubino, publisher of Devil's Digest. Check him out online, devildigest.com, and on Twitter at Devil's Digest. Hode, great stuff. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Thanks, Hode.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Hode Rubino breaking down ASU football and basketball. ASU basketball opens things up coming up on November 8th in Chicago against Mississippi State. Home opener on the 11th of November against Texas Southern.
I'm excited for college basketball this season. There's a lot of good storylines, headlines, and with the transfer portal and NIL, teams like FAU and San Diego State having a lot of guys last year that were in that Final Four. It'll be interesting to see how things play out. And Kansas and Duke are at the top right now. So can those Blue Bloods hold on and be those two teams when it's all said and done? When March Madness comes, it's coming before you know it, Gross. I'm looking forward to it.
I know we're all feeling a little down, a little blue about the breakup of the Pac-12 for various different reasons. But how good is the Big 12 basketball going to be?
Ooh, and next year, too. Oh, Arizona added to the mix. Maybe even a UConn team, rumors has it, that they might add into the Big 12. Gonzaga, what do they do? But, man, you're right, Gross. Even this year with Kansas, with Houston, with Texas, man, it's going to be a great year for college basketball.
College basketball right around the corner. All right, we're going to step aside here. Still to come, I haven't seen him yet.
Casey.
Casey from the Sportsbook will join us in our final segment. More to come on Fox Sports 910.
All clear. Powered by the Sportsbook at CAZ Sports Bar in Casino, Arizona continues next on Fox Sports 910 and the free iHeartRadio app.
Come chill and get your fill at Arena Sports Grill. Arena Sports Grill is your home for Nebraska Cornhusker football and the National Football League. Watch all your favorite sports, plus off-track wagering with the ponies. Arena even caters to the night owls with breakfast on the weekends till 2. NFL Mondays and Thursdays are packed with happy hour specials daily till 7 and other incredible drink and food specials. It's Arena Sports Grill, 64th Street in Bell, North Scottsdale's friendly sports bar since 1998.
Escape the scorching heat and get indoors at Putting World's 18-hole putting experience. Stay cool while mastering the greens and having a blast with family and friends. Visit Putting World today.
A homeowner just like you.
Hey.
Decides to fix his roof.
Okay.
He backs up his truck, ties one end of the rope to the bumper and the other to himself.
Smart.
He's working on the back side of the roof until...
What? Wait, no.
Yes, Dad was in tow.
Ooh, was he hurt?
A few bruises and his pride.
I have some. Offering maintenance, repairs, and replacements. Of course, licensed, insured, and bonded. From residential to commercial. State 48 Roofing.
Well, I do have a nice surprise for the final song.
Are you ready for the ultimate sports?
Oh, you'll have to wait for that.
And BKD's Backyard Joint.
Unless you want it now, it's your choice.
We're not just a sports bar. We're the destination for the best food, drink,
Yeah, I think so.
experience in the valley. Located at the corner of Pecos and McQueen and Chandler, get ready to score big on fun and flavor. Only at BKD's Backyard Joint, where every day is game day. Check us out online at bkdsbackyard.com. That's bkdsbackyard.com.
See your Valley Chevy dealers today during Chevy's truck season. Every truck has a story. Make yours
The Raiders.
It's Chevy truck season. See your Valley Chevy dealers today.
Get ready for double the fun on the 101. Introducing the Salt River Rewards Program at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort, the Valley's newest and best. With multiple tiers and endless benefits, we've got something for everyone. Don't miss out on the excitement. Salt River Rewards, the Valley's premier player rewards program, now at Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort. 2 properties, 1 amazing club, offering limitless fun on the 101. Discover the best in the Valley at saltriverrewards.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get big savings and big rewards during Provember at Lowe's. Right now, MVP's members earn 3 times the bonus points on DeWalt products and save $200 on a DeWalt sliding compound miter saw. Plus, earn 3 times the bonus points on Little Giant products and save $70 on the Little Giant multi-position 14-foot ladder. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. While supplies last, selection varies by location. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 11/22.